Naroop pre-divorce was the planner. Everything's planned out for the next 50 years. You got your stocks and shares ISA, you got this, you got that. I can see where stuff is going. All of a sudden, the relationship comes to an end and it's just fog everywhere. Yeah. I don't even know what direction to walk in. Like, where do I take the next step? I couldn't see anything. And so to walk through that was difficult. But I realized that I don't want to stand in the storm and let the storm just overtake me. I want to walk through it. I want to come out the other side. My dad is very good at dropping quotes, the one-liners, the encouragement. He said to me, dad, he said to me, like, when I told him I'm going to get divorced, he said his exact words: "How you handle this will define who you are as a man." A healthy way of being masculine is being aware of your emotions, knowing it's okay to be vulnerable, that to share your feelings, to still be strong and still be the provider and still be the protector, but not feel that you can't open up and talk about what you're going through with your partner. I always say a man should be able to look at himself in the mirror first thing in the morning, and a woman, of course, and be proud of who they see in that reflection. How you treat your daughter is how she will expect to be treated by her future partner.
My exact thoughts. Right? Would have been my exact thoughts
right?
as well.
And so it's like, this is what you're worth.
Assalamu alaikum, thank you very much and welcome to my podcast, Food And. I'm here today with Naroop Jhooti, founder of the Dad Project. So this is something close to my heart and it's an honor to have you on. I'm really glad that you're here. So explain a bit about yourself, who you are, what you do and what is Dad Project.
That's a lot of questions in one, actually. It's going to take an hour to explain.
As quick as you can.
As quick as I can, all right. I am a creative. I am a creator. I am a podcaster. I am a founder. I started my journey in life as a photographer and a filmmaker. I was meant to work with my father in his business, in his clothing business. He had a clothing manufacturing company with 5 factories in India. But the year I started working with him when I was 21, unfortunately, the business went bankrupt. So I found myself in a position at 21 after having gone to private school all my life and thinking I'm going to expand my dad's empire to actually seeing it crumble. And that had a massive impact on me. But from there, I realized I want to work for myself. Like, I learned a lot from my dad, seeing him build a business, but then also rebuild his life after the business. And it just further fueled my desire to want to work for myself. But I was creative at heart. So I started working in photography, shooting music artists for all the biggest record labels, their CD covers, their album covers, the billboard posters, and then started working in advertising. So there's 2 of us. That's me and my business partner, Amit. We've been working together for 24 years now. We went by the name of Amit and Naroop. That's what we were known as. That's our brand. And we shot for Samsung, Microsoft, BBC, Sky, Adidas, all the biggest brands shooting their TV commercials and their billboard campaigns. And it was amazing. It was a roller coaster of a career. And then a couple of years ago, we thought, we need another challenge. We've done this. We've achieved what we felt we wanted to achieve. And we set up our own agency, a content strategy and investment company called Back the Brave, where we help businesses and founders scale and grow their businesses using our creative knowledge and experience to do what we did for global brands, now for other brands. And then in the last year, I started the Dad Project, which is a men's mental health organization, which is, I feel, my true purpose and my true calling. After my 44 years on this planet, I found that everything I've done and all the experience I've been through have led me to this point, this very moment, to do what I'm doing now, which is to help men do life.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that's an introduction and a half. That was. I'm glad you made it as concise as possible. A lot going on there.
Yeah.
So let's go back, right?
Sure.
Young man, you grew up in Hounslow.
Yeah.
Nice part of London. It's nice, yeah. Middle class, upper middle class background?
I'd say middle class.
Okay. Went to private school?
Went to private school.
So you're upper middle class background. Don't be shy, all right?
I went to Latimer in Hammersmith, which is a phenomenal school.
It's a very good school.
It's great.
Good school.
I remember...
you're rubbing shoulders with some quite prestige people at your time.
Hugh Grant went there. A lot of everybody was wealthy, and there was me, my brother, whose parents literally sacrificed going on holiday to send us to school.
But you're still wealthy, though. Because by any stretch of the imagination, you've got to be wealthy to go to that kind of school. We know nowadays. We have to kind of say, I have to say this stringently, that nowadays to go to private school, you have to be very wealthy.
Yes.
Back in the days when we were younger, you just had to be wealthy.
Yeah.
But still, you were relatively comfortable.
We were comfortable, but my parents sacrificed. They didn't have everything they wanted.
Yeah.
And they just said, no, I remember there'd be times when the school fees would come round and they'd be thinking, okay, how are we going to get the money together to pay for this term? So it wasn't like, oh, we've got all your education saved up.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we won't go on holiday. We won't do this. We won't do that for ourselves because we're doing this for you. And I learned that very early on. And I saw it.
Did they guilt trip you in
No,
any way? I'm
never.
just curious.
No, never.
Because
They
it sounds like, you know what, you better make something of yourselves, kids, because we spent a lot of money. It wasn't like that at all?
It gave me a sense of responsibility.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I was kind of average in my academics.
Okay.
And so I want to do as good as I can, but you can only do what you can do, right?
Yes.
But I did see it. And especially with my mum, right? I saw it because she is so selfless. And I saw what she did. And I could, and it, from a very young age, it hit me that she's literally going without. Even today, when she's got money there, she still looks for the deals.
But it's a lot of pressure, though. I mean, how many siblings do you have, first of all?
One older brother.
One older brother.
Yeah.
So it's just you and your brother. That can be a lot of pressure on a young man to see that and feel that, mum and dad have to struggle and work hard and go without just for us. Did you feel any pressure as a young man? Because I would feel pressure.
I did feel pressure,
Yes.
but this is really interesting what my dad did. So a lot of times we push children, do this, right? And they would push, and I would try, but I would never really deliver until one day my dad wrote me a letter, and I was 15 years old, and he said, Naroop, I believe I have tried my best to help you with your education, to give you all I can. I now feel that you are old enough to make your own decisions, so I will let you be and let you do what you feel you need to do. And I read that letter, and instead of him now pushing me, he gave me ownership. And overnight, my results changed.
I could have been construed as another way to say that, he's fed up.
No.
Was you troublesome?
No.
Were you a troublesome child?
No,
or
he
never any issues with you?
No, he wasn't fed up. He said, and even now, he's like, make a decision. I will support you, but I want you to make your decisions. And that changed. From that moment on, my grades excelled because I now took ownership. And I realized that this is on me. And I do that with my daughter now. I don't push. I'm there to support, to guide, to encourage, to see what's in her and build her strengths rather than trying to support her strengths rather than trying to build her weaknesses. It's like, what's she really good at? I'm here to support that. That stuff, okay. She may not be as good as that. That's okay. That's fine. No one is perfect. And that taught me a lot.
That's quite forward thinking, though, from your father to be able to say that, and especially with generation. You're of the similar generation to me, and I presume our fathers are of a similar age. So that would be quite forward thinking of that. I commend your father for that. I really do.
Yeah, he's a good man.
No, he seems like a very good man. So you started off. It's you and your brother in this relatively middle upper class area.
Yeah.
Was it predominantly white area at the time?
Hounslow's not. Hounslow is mixed. But Hammersmith,
before?
No, it was still the same then. But
originally.
Hammersmith, I went to school, was majority white, and our school was majority white. And so that was interesting because I would go from an area which is mixed, probably majority Asian, to an area which is majority white. So I found myself in this middle area where I wasn't brown enough for my mates from Hounslow, but I wasn't white to hang around with the guys at school. So who am I? And I became this mishmash of both, which I actually really like because I've got my Indian heritage and I've got my culture, but I've also, I can listen to rock music and I can do this, I can do that. I'm not saying you have to be white to listen to rock music, but I can mix and match. And what I find is really important is if you are not comfortable in environments where you are a minority, you will struggle. And I've seen friends, when I bring them to events where it's mainly white, they will put on a voice. They will act a certain way because they think they have to be something else.
Or hide.
Yes. Whereas me, you get Naroop wherever you go.
Yeah.
And that came from my education, which is why I love Latimer, that even though I didn't become a doctor or a politician or whatever, the man it made, oh God, I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's nice to know that you're comfortable on both sides, and I see it from my side as well. I'm very similar. It's similar. Me and you have very similar upbringings, believe it or not. It is difficult, and I've seen it a lot. Yes, from people that aren't white, when they go from into a white area or mix around with white people, they struggle, and I've seen it a lot. But you, obviously going to Latimer, you found that one. It was a lot easier for you. So now we have to mention this. your brother,
Yeah.
singer, songwriter, Jay Sean.
Yep.
I mean, I remember him when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, listening to his music. And so you went to school with him.
Yeah.
Again, I have to ask, both of you went to very, very good schools, and yet none of you kind of took the academic path.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how was it? I mean, it's okay if you take if you don't take the academic path and you become rich and famous.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that a lot more pressure on you, or how was it for you? Because you're the younger brother, all right? You didn't take the academic path from that your parents kind of put you on.
Yeah.
Your parents weren't wealthy, or they were comfortable enough, but they had to sacrifice enough to do that. And then all of a sudden, your brother then excels at a relatively young age. I mean, he must have been in his early 20s.
22.
Yeah, to be then bang, you know,
Yeah.
global star, especially in the UK. How'd that feel for you?
It was challenging for a number of reasons. Not that I was ever jealous or envious, but there were three things that were happening at that time in my life. One was I started working with my dad and the business had gone bankrupt. So now I was doing market stalls with my father and my mum, right? Literally standing next to the hamburger guy and smelling onions when I'm trying to, sell this stock, this clothing, the clothes that, we had left over. At the same time, I had been dealing with a challenge for a long time, which is I was born with an eye condition. So I was bullied at school my whole life. And I always had this sense of inferiority. I had a lack of confidence. I didn't like looking people in the eye. And so I was now in a position where my brother was excelling and I felt I was at rock bottom because I'm working in market stalls. All the girls love my brother and I literally didn't have the confidence to even go up and talk to a woman, even though I was in a relationship. But still, I didn't know how women responded to me because I was with my now ex since I was 15, right? So I would look at him and I would think, what has happened to me? Like feels like a bit of a unfair card to be dealt. Not that I was ever jealous or envious, but I could see a reflection of myself thinking, everyone loves him, but I don't love myself. And how am I going to move forward through this? But what I realized was that his success in being his brother was my teaching.
Okay.
It was my teaching because I grew through that, because it would have been very easy for me to carry on my life feeling sorry for myself, not wanting to excel, going down a road of self-pity and depression. But instead, it was like the universe saying, no, Naroop, this is what you can become if you chase your dreams. Look what your brother is doing. And it made me excel. It made me push myself. It made me become more confident. It made me shatter any false illusions I had of myself. And it made me flourish. So him being Jay Sean for me was my biggest blessing. And, now we're in business together. We're best mates. We've always had the most amazing relationship. But people always ask me, were you ever jealous? There was loads of times where I felt invisible. We'd go to family parties. People wouldn't even say, hello, is your brother coming? I'm like, hello. But then I'll just make fun of it. Like my mum would be at home and my brother would come over and he'd stay with us when he's here. And my mum's mate would come and she'd be like, oh, my friend wants a photo of you, right? And then I would be at the background saying, does she want a photo with me as well? I just make fun of it because I know it, I get it, and I don't feel it.
So look, we speak briefly on your history. So you went to good schools. Your dad had a relatively successful company, went bust. You went to doing almost kind of Del Boy on the street corner, selling, on market stalls. Your brother's shot to stardom, global star. But yet you end up relatively successful. So what was your next step from there? So you go from that to do what? I mean, you had a decent education, so I suppose that did help.
I went into photography.
Okay. Did you go to university?
I went to university. I went to Queen Mary's.
Oh, okay.
I got 2-1 in business. But I was always creative. So my business partner at the time, who's also my cousin, his dad was a budding photographer. So he had all the latest digital cameras. And so when my brother got signed to a record label, I thought, you know what, I want to also try to work in music. So a friend of mine was a singer, a Hindi singer. So I said, look, my brother's just been signed. I will do for you what my brother's managers are doing for him. Okay, it's very simple in my mind. I'll just copy them, right? And the first thing my brother had done was a photo shoot.
Okay.
So I said to my cousin, Amit, I said, Amit's dad, I said, uncle, can you do a photo shoot for my mate? Because, I'm trying to manage him. The day of the photo shoot, my uncle totally forgot, you know. And so Amit took the camera, having never really done anything, but it was the first digital camera, a Fuji camera.
Yeah.
And we did this photo shoot for my mate. And the photos came out amazing. They came out really good. And my uncle said, you guys have got talent. You guys have got an eye for this. And we're both like, no one's ever taught us about photography. We just kind of know what looks good. And literally for that moment, Amit and Naroop, the company, was born. And I shared this idea of trying to be a manager. And I said to my cousin, should we try to do this? Like,
I mean, that must be quite inspiring for you. You've come of age. You've been surrounded by two very successful people in your life. Yes, your father lost it, but at one time very successful. So this is the first time for you that this was your own success in some respect?
Something I could control.
Someone actually said to you, you know what?
Yep.
Wow, you did well on this.
Yep.
Was that a pivotal point
Massive,
in you?
Massive, because now I could control the outcome and it was mine. And we didn't make any money for a while, but not real money.
Never do.
Not any real money, just we're living at home,
Yeah.
so it was okay. But within 6 months, we went from doing a photo shoot for my mate.
What year was this roughly?
This is 2001, 2002.
Okay, so yeah, there was a big kind of Bollywood scene, a lot of the Asian music kind of seeping into mainstream. So there was a big
It was
drive
happening,
at that time.
but
Okay.
we got invited to do a photo shoot for this guy called Tayo Cruz, who was signed to Island Records.
I know Tyler
right?
Chris, yeah.
He rang up. We had a MySpace account and had a number
Okay.
on there, and he rang up and said he wants to get a photo shoot done and did this one shoot for Tayo Cruz. We walked into Island Records, and this is the funniest story. Walked into Island Records thinking, oh my God, we've made it. We're in a record label. Go upstairs, massive boardroom, a meeting with 4 of their execs. And Tayo is so adamant he wants us to photograph him.
Yeah.
He's seen some of our work. And these execs had no idea who we were. And so the end of the conversation, they said, okay, so how much do you charge? What's your fee? And me and Amit, we knew we were going to go in high. So we said, £400, right? Really, we should have probably been saying like 20 grand, but we didn't know. And they were like this, okay, 400, yep, that seems manageable. We can do that. I think we could stretch to that. And we were so boosted because it's £400.
£400 at
for
that
someone
time.
paying us to do something
that's
that we
more than a
love.
week's wage, yeah.
But we quickly cottoned on that, you know what, we should be charging a lot more than this.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yeah.
that started it all. From that one photo shoot, we shot all the biggest artists in hip hop, R&B, pop, you know, X Factor stars. And it
So
just,
you had them. So you went on. You forged your own career in the kind of the content world and the photography world and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You get older. You get married.
Yeah.
Then how's your career going? First of all, at that time, what were you in at that time? When you get married, how old were you when you got married?
28.
28. So good age. So you got married. How was your career? Successful at that time?
Really good. We started doing advertising,
Making good money.
making great money. Advertising then was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. We were in that game for a long, long time, and we did really well. And it was amazing because we were getting paid to do something that we loved, and it just didn't feel like work. You know,
Company was successful.
flying
doing
around
well?
the world, shooting campaigns, respect, recognition. 2 brown boys in an industry where there wasn't many. You know,
Did you use any of the fame from your brother of that, or
No.
was it all on your own?
because
all
it
off your
wasn't
back?
music, it was advertising, right?
So this was your own self-willed determination
Yep.
to say, you know what, these guys, they made it on their own. They've done their bit. I'm going to do mine. Driving factor for you there.
do mine. But
Okay.
doing something that I love. And
Because you
something-
could have gone the other way. It would have been very easy to have gone the other way.
Oh yeah.
You know, dad, brother successful, and I'm the little one. I don't get nothing. Feeling
Yeah.
sorry for yourself.
Yeah, it's
Good
easy.
movie.
It's easy to do that, but that's when I think, you know, you really it comes down to your own self-worth.
Yeah.
How do you view yourself? What do you feel you're made for? What do you feel your destiny is? And I always had a high self-image. I always knew I was destined for greatness. Even during my darkest times, there would be a voice, like a voice in my head to say, Naroop, you know you're destined for greatness. Why are you even sitting here? You know what's coming, dude. Like, pick yourself up. And that's why I didn't always need too many people around me, because I was my own best mate and always have been. It's a sense of, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
And so then we skip forward a few years. You start the Dad Project. Okay.
Yeah.
So just roughly, what is that? Briefly, very brief. What is the Dad Project and what did it start from?
The Dad Project started from a need. My relationship of 26 years came to an end. And I found myself in a position where I was a single father, and I wanted to understand what life would be like being a single dad, and I couldn't find anything out there. And I was looking for like a men's meetup group, a platform, somewhere where men can come together and talk about being a single dad, and I couldn't find anything. And so I eventually, after having gone through my healing journey, wanted to highlight that dads, single dads of color, right, especially at that point, could be good dads.
Yes.
Right. That if you're a black dad, a brown dad, it doesn't mean you've done something wrong all the time. That
There's been a lot of stereotypes.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I wanted to break the stigma, right? So I just did this little project, and I found 8 dads who I felt were inspiring fathers. Well, I didn't just find them. I asked around, I spoke to them, and I photographed
Single dads, married dads.
These are all single dads. Because at that point, I was focused on single dads of color. That was my starting. I just wanted to do a little project about single dads of color.
Yes.
Interviewed them, but the main thing were the photos. I wanted to create these beautiful portraits of them. I started sharing this content on my Instagram, and just little clips of the interview. And another single dad sent me a message saying, "Hi Naroop, I've come across this. What are your plans with this?" And I said, "Look, I'm just putting out this bit of content. It's something I'm personal about." He said, something I'm passionate about. He said, "Naroop, this could be a podcast." I said, "Really?" I go, "I never shot it as a podcast." He goes, "Trust me." So the first 8 episodes were single dads of color.
Yeah.
After I did that season 1, having seen the response and realizing that people really need this, the next season was just men's mental health. No longer about single dads of color, men's mental health, helping men through a difficult time based on my lived experience of what I had gone through a painful divorce, finding myself again, rebuilding my life, my journey as a single dad, and realizing that everything I had, all the abilities and the knowledge and the wisdom was given to me for a reason, to help me through this time, to come out stronger, to come out better, to help men, and to be a role model for other men.
So this was created on the back of divorce then?
This is after this, yeah. So after the divorce.
Were you in a dark place at the time? Was it hard?
Very hard.
Yep.
You know, the way I describe it is, you know, I used to love planning my life, right? Naroop pre-divorce was the planner. Everything's planned out for the next 50 years. You got your stocks and shares ISA, you got this, you got that. I can see where stuff is going. All of a sudden, the relationship comes to an end and it's just fog everywhere. I don't even know what direction to walk in. Like, where do I take the next step? I couldn't see anything. And so to walk through that was difficult. But I realized that I don't want to stand in the storm and let the storm just overtake me. I want to walk through it. I want to come out the other side. And now the Naroop after that is, I live in the present. I live for the now. I live for the moment. I want to help and inspire.
Or you've stopped planning so much?
I plan a few things, but I know we have no control over stuff. All we can do is do the best in this moment, in the now, and be grateful and be and love the moment that we're in, because it's great having ideas and we should all plan a bit, but there's no guarantees.
So what was your main inspiration for starting it? Did you feel that you were lacking somewhere else?
To help men.
Did you not get that help yourself? Is the question.
I did have help, because I had friends and family that I could speak to.
Okay.
But
because this is an important part. I mean, because we talk about it, you mentioned the brown culture. Did you have that in your culture, or did you have to look outside your own kind of circle of culture to find that help?
I probably looked outside a little bit. If it wasn't for my friends and my brother, I think it would have been difficult, because they were there to listen. I always think every man, if they're going through a challenging time, they need to speak to somebody, but it has to be the right person. Therapists are great for one part, and that's important, very important. But I think everyone needs a male friend, the right male friend who will listen, because some friends will judge, or they don't know how to respond. And so they'll be like, "Oh, don't worry, you'll be right. Let's go and let's go here, let's go do that," and distract and deflect. Yes. Really, you need someone who sits there and says, "I understand. Okay, tell me more." They don't even need to give you advice. They just need to listen in an empathetic, caring way.
You see, I mean, this is what I feel the problem is at the moment, is that men aren't listening. We don't know how to talk.
No.
And I bring you back to your father, and you told me that he wrote you a letter, and that struck a chord in my mind, and I thought I'd bring it up now. He couldn't talk to you. And he had so much love and such beautiful words to give to you.
Yep.
Yet he still couldn't tell you to your face.
No.
So this is the problem that I think hopefully you're trying to address at the moment. And he was a big man, a powerful man, you know. Was he emotional?
Well, this is really funny, actually, because I had my dad on the podcast because I thought it would be really interesting to see a father and a son conversation. And he was basically near enough crying throughout the whole podcast. And he opened up in a way that he never has in person, because he had no choice. We're talking, we're on a podcast, right? When I went home that day and I spoke to him, I said, "Dad, how do you feel after that?" And he said, "Naroop, I never realized I was carrying 20 years of pain still with me from from the collapse of his empire, and he realized the power of conversation. Because my dad is very good at dropping quotes, the one-liners, the encouragement. He said to me,
dad, yeah.
he said to me, like, when I told him I'm going to get divorced, he said his exact words: "How you handle this will define who you are as a man." Mm-hmm. Nothing more. No, like, oh, come and give me a hug. You'll be right, son. Very simple.
But that's a lot of pressure. Again, the pressure that I come back to the word pressure. It's a lot of pressure to from a father to a son to say, this is your defining moment. This from this moment on would define the rest of your life. It's a lot of pressure for a man, and by another man who's already been through these pressures. There has to be other ways around it.
I like high standards.
I know, but you could take it, and not that you could take it. I take that wrong. You've learned to adapt because you've had to.
Yeah.
Because you've had your father and you've had your brother. You've had the society of being in a school such as Latimer with white people who already 3-0 up, just because they're born white into privilege. Yeah. So it's not that you like it; it's you've had to adapt to it.
Yep.
No one's come to you and said, "Naroop, you don't need to do this."
No.
So I mean, I say it as a man in a similar position that there's got to be another way.
There's got to be another way.
That one line is again more pressure on you.
Yeah, but I think he knew that I could handle it, because you're right, and I'm just thinking about this now, like knowing that my brother's forged his own path, my dad forged his own path. I had no choice but to do mine. It was inbuilt into me. It's like this is what I know a man does. A man has a goal.
Otherwise,
and a dream,
you'd be a
and
failure in your own mind. In your own mind,
yes.
And I say in your own mind, not to your dad,
I 100%
not to your
agree
brother.
with you. I 100% agree with you.
It's either one or the other.
Yes.
A failure or a success forging my own path.
Yeah.
So you even shied away from the academic side because not your brother nor your father did academic side.
Well, my dad actually said to me, the education wasn't for us to get a normal job. He never wanted us to work a normal job.
Okay.
He said, I will never tell you what to do and who to marry. They were your decisions. But to have the best education to develop me as a man was important. Mm-hmm. But he's the biggest dreamer. He used to say to me, I'd rather you earn less doing something you love for yourself than earn more working for someone else. Do what you want to do for yourself. And what's beautiful about my parents, which I think is quite rare in Asian culture, is they never questioned, are you sure it's the right thing that you're doing? Like, you could be doing something else, Naroop. Never. Well done, son. I'm proud of you. Mm-hmm. Well done, son. I'm proud of you. And that is a beautiful thing to have, because, if we feel like we're going against the expectations of our parents, it makes life so challenging. But if your parents say, look, you've only got one shot at this thing, just do what you want, be happy. Yep. How often do we hear that in Asian culture, especially? Be a doctor, be this. And I've got friends, I've got cousins who are doing something that they hate. They don't like it.
But they make good money doing it.
But they're not happy.
Okay. Now, look, I got to try and work in a bit of food. I'm a chef and this is me.
Do it.
Now, I always ask this kind of things. Because I always thought, and I've always been told, the best way to have a family conversation is around the dinner table. Yeah. Growing up, did you have that? Was it a sense of family, dinner time? Was it together? Or was it mum was busy, dad was busy, and I'd be eating in my room and my brother would be out? Or how was that?
Well, it's my grandparents. So my parents were building the business. My grandparents lived with us. And his grandma would always cook. Mm-hmm. And it would be amazing. Indian food.
What was your favourite?
Chicken curry, probably. Oh. Like, she didn't eat meat.
She's still with us, Grandma?
No, she passed.
Oh,
but her food was always amazing. Even when I moved out, I'd get a message, I've made you this, and please come pick it up. Just constantly wants to feed us. We're probably all aware we have grandmothers that are like that. Granddad always cut fruit. He wanted to make sure the fruit looked amazing, and we sat and it was a real privilege. And I still remember those moments fondly, because it's the care. Mm-hmm. Even as the little thing is, my granddad would always make us an Indian cup of tea, right? And even if we had been out, me and my brother might have gone out with our mates, would wake up and there'd be an Indian cup of tea in the side, and that cup of tea just symbolized so much love. Thought. Thought, care, love. Like, who else is? And I remember that now. My granddad passed 10 years ago, but I still can remember the taste of his tea, and knowing that no one else makes tea.
Were you a favorite of the grandparents, or was it your brother?
I think I was a favorite of my granddad. Okay. My grandma, I think, he favored my brother a little bit, but it was pure love. Yeah. It's so beautiful. I had all four of my grandparents till I was 30 years old, and I think that's a massive privilege. That is, and which is why I really pushed my granddaughter my daughter to have a good relationship with my grandparents.
Can you cook?
My parents, sorry. I can manage.
So you're not cooking for your daughter then, no?
I do actually.
Oh, you do?
She likes
Okay.
steak. She likes eggs.
Okay.
I do like I like to say the caveman diet. I can
Steak
give
and
her
eggs.
meat, protein, and a carb. Right? And it's simple, but it's nutritious.
Fair enough.
Like if you try to get me to put too many flavors or ask me to cook different cuisines, I'll struggle.
Okay.
But to be honest, I was spoiled when I was young, and I'll openly admit this.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I'm glad you admitted it. I didn't have to tell you.
I was spoiled, right? But I know what I like as well.
Yeah.
Now I like simple, clean food because I know it's good for my health. But when I have
So you're not like curry. I have to have curry, 3-4 times a
No.
week, or no.
No, I think it's really interesting because I've had so much curry. If I was to go out for a meal, it wouldn't be an Indian restaurant because I've had that my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm now
And you've
interested.
had Nan's curry, which is the best curry in the world.
Oh, no.
It's always
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always tell my colleagues, like, if you want some really good Indian food, like, come over. Like, mom makes amazing food. But is one thing I am working on, and I am currently working on, is improving myself in my capabilities of cooking. Just because
Well, you're a single man now.
Yeah.
Okay, just in case any ladies out there are looking. You're a single man. So, yeah, I always believe that the way to a woman's heart's through the stomach. And I always said that, okay, believe it or not, it's the man that should be able to have at least 3 signature
I could do that.
dishes
I
that
could
you
do
can pull
that.
out of the hat.
That I can do.
There we go.
I
So
can
you're on the
do.
lookout. So good luck with that. Right. So look, we're going to go back now, a bit more serious, and talk about it. So you've gone through a divorce. It's difficult. You was with the same woman for 26 years. So
Yeah.
that's a long time for
Yeah.
anyone. You started young. You had your daughter, divorced, and you started up this dad project. So I always say then when we're talking about these things about dad project, you've got to be careful, especially today. And you've got the toxic masculinity that's kind of unfortunately starting to seep through, and it's gone beyond old school that used to say, someone was a man back in the days. It's gone to something quite dark and quite deep. So we always have to make the clarification whenever we talk about anything regarding men that you're talking about more of a balanced kind of society for men. So how are you on that at the moment?
I think healthy masculinity is what I would say, right? Toxic masculinity is when these young men especially believe that, men should be strong and look down on women, or they say stuff which can antagonize certain groups, or their whole view on masculinity is it almost makes it feel like they're victims and they have to push back and they have to be strong. Whereas I think a healthy way of being masculine is being aware of your emotions, knowing it's okay to be vulnerable, that to share your feelings, to still be strong and still be the provider and still be the protector, but not feel that you can't open up and talk about what you're going through with your partner, right? And to feel like you're not a victim, that there is support, there is help, that you don't have to keep it all inside, that you should talk to your friends, that there's more to do than just go to clubs and play football, that you can have environments which are healthy for your mind, do activities which nourish your soul, to meditate, to go to breathwork classes, to make sure you take care of your body and your mind in different ways. And that's what we promote through the Dad Project, is still maintaining those core principles of which make a man, but also understanding that a lot of the stigma which is associated around men not opening up and men keeping stuff inside and say, yeah, I'm strong, I need to be, I can't tell anyone how I feel, to shed those.
Yeah, I have to bring back, I'm a Muslim, practicing Muslim, obviously. And unfortunately, it gets lost in the culture.
Yeah.
And we say brown culture, as you put it all in one. We have this fear of showing our emotions and crying. My dad, as he's got older, has become more emotional, believe it or not. I never saw him cry as a young man. And as he's got older, he's become very emotional. But he was never scared of emotion. My dad was never fearful of emotion. On the odd occasion, he'd get very emotional with his kids. I think my mum told me once that he cried when I left the home, when I moved out and I was 21. So he got emotional at that time. But as a Muslim, we always say that we were brought up that way. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, he cried when his son died, and he showed it intentionally to the people around him to show that it's okay for a man to cry. Unfortunately, our culture has kind of suppressed this.
Yeah.
And, I go back generation and generation between myself and my father, he'd always say you would have that man up kind of
Yep.
society that's going in. How's it been for you trying to break down these walls? How has it been for you to try to say to guys, you know what, you're allowed to let it out. You're allowed to cry. How's it been? What is the feedback on that?
What I've realized is men will do that, but you've got to create a safe space for them, right?
And what do you mean by safe?
Safe means that they don't fear they're going to be judged. All right. So what happens even in marriages, if a man wants to open up to his partner, right? Sometimes he's in fear of being judged by her, that she's gonna think he's not a man, or start. He opens up about a point that he feels, and she might bring something from the past in, and he might get them, an argument might start, and he doesn't feel safe. And even with his friends, if his friends think, "Oh my God, dude, what are you talking about? Like, seriously? Like, come on!" Like, and if they're not in that space, again, fear of judgment. Whereas when you create spaces, which is what we do with the Dad Project with our men's meetup groups, create a space of non-judgment where it's safe for you to share how you feel. Men will share. They want to share. They need to offload, but you have to let them know that no one's going to think down of them. No one's going to judge them. No one is going to laugh behind their back. That is what we need to create, and men don't have that. Men do not have that, and men, I find, are just as emotional as women. They really are, but it sits in them. And you always use this analogy of them carrying a backpack full of emotions, and every time they don't let an emotion out, it gets chucked in the backpack. And later in life, that backpack is weighing them down, and they're beaten down. Then anything will make them snap. Any moment, boom, it's a fight, it's an argument, because they haven't released this baggage they're carrying. But you know what? If you let go of the baggage, you're light, you're happy, you feel free. You wanna help others. You wanna smile. You wanna laugh. You're full of love. But
Do you
creating
see
that
any change
space
in the generation of men? So I don't know if you get the men that you meet, are they younger men or older men? But do you see a change on age?
I do find there was a change. My generation and the generation below, the generations above, there's still work to be done. But what I also find is important for men is they need to have a role model. They need to see a man and believe in that man and believe that they can change. So from my dad's generation, for example, if I was speaking to a 70-year-old man and I was like, uncle or whoever, this is what you should be doing, he'd be looking at me thinking, dude, what life have you lived? I'm 30 years older than you. So they have to be able to relate to that man. So I can relate to men of my age, probably down to 20. They can look at me and think, okay, Naroop's been through this. He's been through difficult times. He's come out. He's stronger mentally, physically, not always. He's doing well in his life. I can trust in what he's telling me, right? So men have to see that, because if they don't believe in the person, this is why I believe it's so important as me as a founder of the Dad Project to lead by example. That if they don't believe in that person, they don't believe in that message, they won't follow the guidance and the advice that's being given.
So if you was going to give some advice, I've got 2 older boys, or 2 big boys and a little boy. I've also got a little girl. But my 2 older boys are young teenagers. What advice would you give for me as a father on how to speak to them, how to approach them? Because it's all well and good saying, you know what, you should talk about this, you should talk about this. But it's difficult. We're here sitting face to face, all right? For me to sit down with my kids face to face, it's not the easiest thing. So what kind of advice would you give to fathers out there?
I would say you have, obviously every son and every child is different. You have to find a way that you can create an environment where they feel they can communicate to you, right? Without feeling like you're going to snap at them. And it's funny because one of my friends was telling me that her dog died, right? And all the family was distraught, but the 17-year-old son didn't release any emotion and just shut himself in the room. And 2 weeks later, he said to everybody at the dinner table, I've got to tell you something. And he wrote a poem about the dog dying. And that's it. Nothing more was said. That's his way. He expressed his emotion. So everybody's different, but allowing the son or the child to communicate in a way that's right for them is important. What fathers often do is try to create another version of themselves. This is what I would do. Why are you not doing that same thing? Rather than saying, well, let me really look at this man. And what I find with fatherhood is really important. We think as fathers that we know what to do as dads. You know, I raised him when he was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I know what I'm doing. But your job as a father never stops, right? And there's this beautiful quote which says, when the son's shoe size is the same as the father's, you treat him as a friend. So you stop becoming the dad and thinking, you listen to what I say to you because I'm your dad. But when he's a man, he's not your son, he's a man, right? You treat him as a friend, you treat him with the respect, because now he's looking at his world thinking, I need to understand what this world means. because the father has seen the world through his eyes. He's made he's forwarded his opinions and values, but I see the world like this. So can the father respect the son's opinions and the views of the world and say, actually, he sees the world through a different lens than me, and I understand that. Let me try to understand and see it through his lens too, because that's how the relationship will be really strong. And the son will feel like, wow, my dad is really understanding me. He's taking the time to see the world how I see it. That's what fathers don't do, because a lot of the time, especially if a father hasn't achieved his success and achieved what he wanted, he will project that on the child, and the son will face the punishment of the father's mistakes and misfortune. And we have to shed these, especially in Asian culture. It happens the worst.
It's difficult, yeah.
And that's what we have to learn to do.
There's a lot of stigma attached.
There's a lot.
Unfortunately, in our culture, we do take on anything of the children as an embarrassment or an achievement that we've somehow made ourselves, which is very difficult for a child. And I asked you that question several times. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. Where if I have the pressure of my father saying what I've done, my son has to show me, it is a lot of pressure. We have to take that away. And I agree with you 100%. Believe it or not, Islamically, it's always said that up until the age of 6, you should spoil them with everything. 6 or 7, if I'm not mistaken. And then from 7 to the age of puberty, you should be very hard with them, very firm, very strict. And then after that, you should be your friend. So it's a similar saying, but that's, Islamically, it's said that way as well. I always find when you're speaking to sons, it's always easier not to speak to them face to face.
Okay.
And there's 2 reasons why. One, you stop the embarrassment. When you look at somebody in eyes to eyes, it's emotional and it's hard. And for as a young man, it's sometimes a bit difficult, especially if you're talking about something personal and private. 2 ways I get around that. One, I'll do cooking with them. All right. And one of my son loves cooking. One is not particularly a fan of cooking, but I'll do it with him. That means you stand side by side. You don't have to look at each other. You don't have to have eye-to-eye contact. They feel more free. They're more open. They're not talking directly to their father. They're talking to the space. Gives that bond. And secondly, the other time is when we're driving. It's the best time. I've always found that works. You're more likely to open it, especially if I know it's going to be a bit of a long drive and there's something I need to tell them about, or I need to explain to them, or I need to explain their behavior. I always seem to find that talking to my older boys, it's always a lot easier not to talk to them face to face. Saves my embarrassment because it's hard.
It's not that you're embarrassed. I think it's what it creates is it's a safe space for them, because now they don't feel like they're being lectured or they're being put on the spot. A walk, driving, cooking, anything. I find my dad tends to do that with me. We have to be doing something where he'll talk. He'll never sit there and say, okay, son, so let's have a conversation about this. It'll be during something. If you think back to our evolution, our ancestors, after the men have gone out to do a kill or something, they'd probably have a chat on the way back. They'd walk and they'd talk. It's a natural way that we evolved, right? So I totally agree with that, and I actually promote exactly the same thing. Find an activity, find something that you can do that takes a little of the pressure off. So if you want to have a discussion with a son and you want to talk about something, they don't feel like they're being questioned, like their headmasters are going to tell them off. It's a safe space. And that's what you created, is a safe space.
I mean, it kind of leads me on something else. So, I mean, a lot of men, now, go back to you personally, you divorced. Did you decide, you know what, I'm going to throw myself into something else after that? Was it
I had a relationship, after that.
What about gym? Did you say?
I always trained.
You always trained?
I always trained.
You've always looked up yourself.
But the thing is, I actually promote training for men. It's really important, because I always say a man should be able to look at himself in the mirror first thing in the morning, and a woman, of course, and be proud of who they see in that reflection. And especially for men, seeing that, I feel good, feel strong. It's not a pride thing. It's just you feel like you are able to win the day. If you feel good and you're proud of that man,
regardless then of shape and size, it's just if you feel good in yourself.
If you feel good in yourself, but a lot of the time it is like if you feel like you could look better, if you feel a bit unkept. That's why I say get your haircut regularly. Make sure you know how to do your beard if you've got a beard.
Thanks. I feel like you're kind of looking at me when you say
no, not at all. But I'm just saying, pay attention to little things, because if you can be proud of that person, then you're going out.
Did you put more effort after you got divorced?
No, I've always been
You sure you can generally stand here and say, you know what, I kind of let myself go a little bit.
No.
Because it happens a lot. and it happens a lot with men. And I always say this. I mean, everybody, you know, and you get to a certain age where it's not so easy to keep it off. So you've always been on it.
I've done that from a young age.
Okay.
Because I've always had very high self-esteem and high self-worth. I've known what my value is. So for me, it is the first impression is important. People will take the mick out of me because I always iron everything perfectly. Like my t-shirts have to be ironed.
I was like that.
My jeans have to be ironed.
When I was single, I was like that.
I've done that my whole life. I did that.
I'd even iron my socks.
I did that for my daughter's friend. Had a sleepover the other day, and I had ironed both of their uniforms and put them on the bed when they get ready. And she said, "Lara's dad," and I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Did you iron my clothes?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "My mum and dad never iron my clothes." I'm like, well, you know, you're going to school.
Yeah, that's a bit far. That's a step far.
Yeah,
for me.
but I just like, if you're going to do something, do it to your best. That's
very well driven.
That's been my motto. If you're going to do it to your best, or just don't do it.
You ever go to therapy? Just out of curiosity.
I had 2 sessions, but I didn't connect with the therapist.
Was it for you? No.
Yeah.
The reason why I ask is because you're very well driven. You're extremely driven.
I've got friends who are therapists, especially building this organization.
This is a therapy as such. I mean,
I always have conversations constantly.
The Dad's Project is a therapy of such.
That's why I see
you are so driven. There is something behind you that is just pushing you and pushing you and pushing you constantly.
What I love about doing what I do is they say, if you help a man climb a mountain, you reach the top too, right? So as you help other people, you're growing, you're getting better. And I really want to do stuff that is of value, of purpose. Because if I'm doing something just for money, it has no significance. Like anyone can make money, but can anyone be happy? Can anyone create a legacy? And for me, it's not about going viral, it's about going eternal. It's like I want to create something that will survive far beyond my time. And that's been a driving thing for me since my childhood. And what better way to serve than to leave people with wisdom, with content, with tools that can help generations to come. And the power of helping a man means you don't just help the man, you help the wife, you help the kids, you help the family. And for me, that's really, it's probably for the children that I do it. Because if you have a good father, then there's happiness.
You have a good society.
And a good society.
Yeah. I've always been an advocate of that. Unfortunately, it's the lack of what I would call real men is the issue why we have in society. And when I say my real men, of course, I'm not talking about Mr. Alpha male, Mr. Masculinity. No, none of that. It's all about to be able to show their emotion, to be strong, to be able to show what a man should be, to show how a love between a man and a wife should be. Those are the things I think that we're lacking, unfortunately, a lot in society. But we don't talk about it enough. And it's not just the fault of men. It's on from both sides, obviously. But it's lacking. And it's a bit of an issue at the moment. Now, I'm going to ask you. Your podcast features a lot with deeply emotional stories. Any one that springs to mind, or one that really moved you, and you thought, you know what, this is the one for me?
For my guests,
yes.
I think early on, I had a guest who told me that he had separated with his partner, and the child was maybe only 3 to 4 months old, and it took 3 years for him to get custody to see his daughter more than 2 days in a week, right? And he would have to go up to Birmingham to see him in a controlled environment where there was someone supervising. And that for me really hit hard, because I know if someone came in between me and my daughter, it would break me. And I actually was very thankful that when I divorced, immediately I said, I would like to have 50-50 custody, and it was a non-negotiable, and I had that from the get-go. But so many fathers have to fight for that just ability to see the child that they created, right? And that will always sit with me, because I don't know how a father survives. Like, how do you just carry on day to day and try to be happy?
It would break me, yeah.
It would break you, right? And so knowing that he had to drive so far to see his child, then be supervised, and could never have time alone, I didn't know how he did it. I still don't know. No. For me, that's true bravery. That's true strength.
That's true. That's what you'd call a man.
That's what you call a man.
Regardless of why the marriage broke down and everything, I think between a father and a child is the hardest thing.
Which is what I feel a lot of men, which I'm glad you said it's difficult. They don't talk about the idea that if I didn't have my kids, I couldn't function. Like how many people know that? How many men say I would be broken without my child? Because we seem to think it's okay that a man's okay to see the child, one day, of a month, because really all he wants to do is go out with his mates and do this, that, and the other. But how many men are saying, no, I want my child as much as I can, and that child is safe with me in my house, and they can stay the night, and I will take care of them, and I can be mum and dad, and I can do these things,
And I can iron their uniform.
and I can iron the uniform and cook amazing food,
Cook
right?
amazing food from my side.
and
You do the ironing, I do the cooking.
and do all these things.
We'd
It's
be
just
all
not
right.
said. It's
Yeah.
not said enough. Why is it not said?
So, I mean, we talked a lot about father-son. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about now father-daughter. I have a little daughter. She's 2.5. You're a few years ahead of mine. Your daughter's a little bit older.
Yeah.
What is it you feel the most important thing a man has to show to his daughter?
Love, firstly, but also standard values, right? So how you treat your daughter is how she will expect to be treated by her future partner.
My exact thoughts.
Right?
That would be my exact thoughts
Right?
as well.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, this is what you're worth. It's not showering with gifts. It's not doing all these things. Yeah, they like it, and it's important. You
Yes,
want to
yeah.
spoil them, right? But this is how a man acts. This is what a man does. This is what you should expect. Don't expect anything less.
Yeah.
And I learned very early on, and a friend of mine told me, Naroop, don't worry about anything else you do from your daughter. Just give her love. Right? Now, I'm at the stage where my daughter's going to go to secondary school. I would love her to go private, but if she doesn't, she might get into grammar. If she doesn't get into grammar, she might go public. I'm not putting that pressure on myself to say she has to have what I have. I'm going to do the best I can, but I will love her unconditionally. And the beautiful thing is I see her reflecting that love back to me in her own way. Because she's 9, she's going through the age now where she's like, Dad, don't hold my hand.
They
And like,
start to find their independence at that age. Yeah.
And how many men talk about that chapter in life? Because now I'm realizing she's not my little girl. Now she's going into a young woman, and I have to be able to say, okay, you're okay there, and I will step back, and I'm okay with that. But it's still difficult because I'm processing. Okay, I haven't got a second child, so I've got all this young dad energy to give to a child of 2, 3, 4 years old, but there's no one there. So what do I do with that love? What do I do, and how do I make sure she doesn't feel like, oh, Dad, you got to give me space.
Yeah.
It's men don't talk about that. Like, what do I do with that energy?
Very difficult. And I've always found this, I mean, obviously, I'm not a girl, but from my sisters, even they mentioned it to me, and I've seen it a lot, and again, in the brown community, is that fathers are always very loving with girls, and then there's a point where they stop. And they say, okay, now you're a woman, that's it. And I always thought that was I noticed it, but my sisters, they noticed it a lot. And my father's a very loving man. He wouldn't, obviously, he didn't raise a hand to us. I think he hit me once, but I deserved it. But he would never raise a hand. He didn't shout, wasn't shouting at home. My mum, she pretty much controlled the home. But my sisters always, and both of them said to me recently, we always felt that Dad kind of, as we got older, that was it. Dad was like, okay, you're a woman now. That's it.
Yep.
You're your mum's now. It's nothing to do with me. So yes, from your point of view, that's why I ask you, because say your daughter's a little bit older than mine. The best advice you can give to a father, to a daughter, is to show love.
Never show love, but also like now she's going through stages where there's some stuff she wants to talk to her mum about because she's developing as a woman, right?
Yes.
As a young girl, and I know there's certain things she won't want to say to me, but allowing her to say, look, there's nothing off the table. You can talk to me about whatever you want. Some things are private that you'll only feel comfortable telling your mum. I respect that, and I'll let that be. Especially in a family that's no longer together, as co-parenting, I think that's even more important.
So, my final point here before we move on. You kind of redefining masculinity through a sense of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Do you think we need to rethink the image of dad? When it comes to it, or what dad's jobs are. And I give the example myself. I cook a lot at home. Tuesdays, Wednesdays is, and I put in inverted commas, dad day, because I do the school run, I pick them up and I take them home.
Yep.
My missus is a nurse, so she works long hours on those days. I do the cooking, I clear up, tidy, and then I put them to bed and then I make dinner for the missus. Do you feel we need to redefine the role as dad or father?
I think what you're doing is perfect because in each household...
Well, I didn't need that, but thank you very much.
No, but in each household is different. I think that's really important. But I do think on top of all the things you do, and every house will share different responsibility based on working patterns, the structure of the house. But I think there are certain things a father would need from the family, like respect, loyalty, love.
Yeah.
You know, they want to know that they're valued. If no one ever said to you, Dad, thanks for doing all that, or if your partner never said to you, you know, it's really nice for you to make dinner, you'd start thinking you're undervalued, right? So I don't think I think it's great that men are taking more responsibility, but it's great to also know that it's being appreciated. And the same goes for the woman. You know, sometimes a woman has to do stuff that sometimes a man would normally do, but as long as she's appreciated and is cared for, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So respect and recognition and love, I think, is important within the family dynamic, because if someone feels that they're not being appreciated for what they're doing, mother or father or even child, that's when I find a lot of issues start to develop.
The one thing I will say before we start to wrap this up is that this information needs to get out to the youth.
Yeah,
It's crucial.
yeah,
Because even me as a young man, my idea of what a man should be
yeah,
was different to
Yep.
what it was now or 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. So I think it's key. I love what you do.
This is what we're doing. We're getting it out.
I genuinely love what you do. And we've hardly spoke about food because this subject is so close to my heart. But we're going to go into a little quick fire round.
Lovely.
We're going to chill out a little
Let's
bit.
do
All
it.
right, take it down a notch. So just a few questions.
Sure.
Okay. Answer them as you wish. So your favorite comfort food on a tough day? You're having a tough day as a man. What's your favorite comfort food?
It's gonna be pizza, man.
Really?
But it has to be like Neapolitan. Like it has to be authentic.
Proper
like,
stuff.
proper
Okay,
stuff.
not your
Yeah.
fat, greasy ones.
Nah, just a
Okay.
nice Neapolitan, thick crust. You know, the fluffy crust.
So middle class.
Oh, dude.
You're so-
It has to be authentic, man. I don't want no
I know,
Pizza Hut.
I take my
no
hat off to you.
Domino's.
I agree with you 100%, but that's just a middle class answer. That is right. Okay. The one meal that takes you back to your childhood. I think I know this, but
Probably chicken curry.
Chicken curry,
Grandma's
yeah.
chicken
Nan's
curry.
chicken
With the
curry.
leg drumstick, bowl full of dirty, like, you know, of the, and a couple of chapatis, couple of rotis, and
I fancy that now actually. Okay. So if emotional resilience were a dish, what dish would that be? So your toughest dish, the dish that's like that stands up for itself.
oh man, I'd say like a steak, man, like a steak and chips. That is just tough. It's tough, but it's needed, and it nourishes. You know, I'd say a steak.
And the one thing you've learned to feed your mind, not just your body.
Water.
Okay.
Like being hydrated is important. I think we just neglect that. Like, you know, if you're dehydrated, how it clouds your mind, and how just drinking an adequate amount of water just make you feel good generally.
How often do you go to the gym?
4 times a week.
Wow. How do you find time for anything?
I don't. I make time, man. I make time.
Do you ever tell me you have a gym in your house? And then I understand.
I have a gym that's close.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a gym that's close.
Because I don't know how you have time for that. Right. So a tea and talk
Yeah.
or gym and go?
Depends on the situation.
Okay.
Tea and talk is good when it's a tough day. Gym and go is if I'm dealing with stuff by myself.
Okay.
I'll go to the gym. It's the best way for me to.
So you're happy then to do all the stuff yourself? You don't need to
yeah.
always have a chat
I
about
realize that a lot. A walk or gym, just get out of the environment. You know, I trust my judgment, and I like I said, I'm my own best friend. So I will sometimes I just need to get out of the environment, and I know I'll find the answer.
So you don't feel like you have to talk everything out?
No,
Okay.
not always. Some stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Other stuff, if I've woke up on the wrong side of bed or a thought's been playing on my mind, I just know I need to allow the thought to come and then to go. But if I sit and dwell on it and just think about it, I can make it worse. So I just let me do something physical. I know I'll process it and it's fine. I'll move on.
You bring me back to the story of a 17-year-old. It took him 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He needed 2 weeks to process it. I think
Yeah.
it's important to let people know we
Yeah.
don't always have to talk about
no.
everything all the time.
You can actually do harm like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone's different. Everyone's brain is wired completely different.
Your worst food fail as a father?
As in what I feed.
Your the worst thing where you've just absolutely fluffed it.
Oh, God, there's so many.
We haven't got that long.
I know. What I think my food fail is that my daughter loves noodles, these instant noodles,
Oh,
and
God.
she always wants them.
And you
I'm
give
like,
them?
I'm like once a week. Once a week, but she absolutely loves them. I feel guilty every time I'm making. I'm like, I
tell
should
you-
know better. I should know better.
For me, even as a chef, I have to give my youngest two, they have to have pie and mash at least once a week.
Okay.
It's mash and pie, daddy, mash and pie. They can't say pie and mash. So
Yeah.
pie and mash. That's, and I have to buy the pie because I haven't got time to make one.
Yeah.
Right. So, is a real test of a man when he fights back or when he puts the kettle on?
puts the kettle on.
Yep. You think that's the hardest thing for a man?
When you fight and you keep going, you know, someone might win, but what have you really won? You know, whereas if you put the kettle on, you're taking time to listen, and I think that's when empathy and trust and gratitude is fostered.
Yeah. Right. We're almost there. So tell us then, where can we find you? Where can we reach you? I'm definitely going to be following you after this. So just how to get in contact and everything.
So my personal page, Instagram's probably the best for me, personal. It's Naroop, so ITS, my first name, Naroop. For the Dad Project, Instagram is the Dad Project HQ, and the same for TikTok. And the website is thedadproject.co.uk. But I put a lot of stuff up on my Instagram about mindset, mental health, positivity, stuff like that. So yeah, that's the best place to find me. And I'm always up for a chat. If someone has something that they want to talk about, the line's always open. Or if I can recommend, I'll do the best I can.
Perfect. Look, thank you very much, Naroop. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And I could talk for hours more, but
thank you.
Time is up. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you, mate.
Cheers.